while we're talking. Okay, hello. I think we are live here. I'm hoping that this is all working. This is my new use of technology here. So hopefully we will start to see as people join us. Let me just add this one thing here. And here we go. Show that. Cool. Ah, look at that. Beautiful. All right. Actually, I'm going to hide that now because now it's covering my face. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is our first live interview with Sassy Healthy Fit, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity today to share with you and have a great conversation with Elise Falzone. So, Elise, thank you for being here.
Thanks. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. This is great. And we were just chatting about before we got started how we met through a mutual friend and how we came together because we have common interests. And so it's so great that we, had this connection, reached out, shared some ideas, and now we're collaborating like all pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It happens just like that.
To me, this is like what it's all about. This is why I love having an online community, really. I mean, it's so important to have a local community as well, but having an online community where you can just connect with women that you wouldn't have had the opportunity to otherwise, to me, that is just fantastic. It just is so opening of the whole world. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. It's so that authentic connection.
Right.
And we are in a time and space in our world right now where that collaboration and sisterhood is so powerful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think we need it more than ever. This is a bit of a tangent and I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I just want to say that I do sometimes get feedback from people in general that, oh, social media, why are you spending time online, et cetera. And you know what? You choose, I really feel strongly about this. You choose what your experience is and how you interact on social media. And from my perspective, I leverage it for the power of connection and more socializing, and not just social chit chat, but social engagement and power, because I think that there's a lot of power in connecting with like-minded people. And you may be lucky that everybody in your local community provides that to you, but most of us are not that lucky. So I think it just opens so many opportunities. So I'm very grateful and appreciative of you being here today.
Thank you.
So just to let everyone know, Elise Falzone is an intuitive, I wrote this down because I didn't want to get it wrong, an intuitive healer and a spiritual mentor with Awake. About motivation and self-care and self-love and self-guidance. I really love the way, Elise, that you have, communicated how you really have to listen to mind, body, soul, which is what I am all about and what I want to really empower women, through Sassy Healthy Fit. This is my mission, is to empower women to take better care of themselves, mind, body, and soul. And so I think that is just such a great connection between the two of us. And then when I found out you were like into crystals, I was like, what? I am so fascinated by crystals. I just have to say, there's this local store called Paradise Found in my hometown in Santa Barbara. And it's the coolest. It's super cool. And I've only been in there like once, but I like keep wanting to go back. And I don't know why I haven't made a trek there yet. It's not that far from me, but I need to go and just like embrace all that exists there because I want to learn and absorb all this. Because I think, some people think it's a little woo-woo, but I love the woo-woo. I don't care. I think it's great.
It's really funny because, yes, a lot of people do think it's woo-woo, and it's starting to be more mainstream, especially, in this like empowering space. But what I always say is like, these crystals, they come from the earth. Like these are ancient crystals. It's not really woo-woo. Like if, everybody has a different belief or whatever everybody's beliefs are, but if you believe that, Earth was not man-made, then it's coming from a greater source. And it's so
Right.
beautiful when you connect to that kind of divine power of the crystals and really recognize that it is a tool to channel divine messages, to connect with your higher self, to say your prayers, to do your meditation. It's such a beautiful connector, I believe.
Right. No, that's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit, how did you get, how long have you been on this journey and how did you get, into this space?
Yeah, for sure. So my story starts a long time ago, really, when I was a little girl. My grandmother passed away when my mom was pregnant with me. So my mom's mom.
Okay.
So I never got to meet her. But when I was 2 years old, my mom said, I can remember you were asking me questions about your grandmother and you knew things about her that I had never told you. So
Wow.
even from a young age, which is actually very common, people don't always realize, but a lot of children are still very connected, closer to kind of that side of the world than our human side.
Right.
So my mom just was really open with the experiences that I had, things that I saw, things that I felt. But I was very afraid of these kind of powers, if you will. I was very scared. And in my teenage years, I sat down and I said a prayer. I said, please take all of this away. It's very scary to me. I was seeing light energy and dark energy. I didn't know how to differentiate. There was nobody really to talk to. I didn't know how to kind of manage all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just said, please take it all away. And when the time is right, bring it back, because there was something inside of me. There was a knowing inside, that gut knowing that just knew that there was something for me inside of it, but I just didn't know what it was. Through a few different health issues in my life, the most recent, or the one that really kind of kicked me back into everything, was in 2010. I had melanoma skin cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And from finding out about that, it was like, okay, I got it. I'm all in. Like,
Right.
what do I got to do? I'm all in.
Right.
And the mentors and the teachers and the coaches and all the things and all the people and all the experiences started showing up for me to really kind of push me into my grand spiritual awakening, if you will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually had an issue with melanoma skin cancer as well. I don't think we talked about this either.
We did not.
And, I was very lucky that mine was, they caught it super early, and it was melanoma in situ, which I guess is like phase or stage 0.
Oh, wow.
So super early. But the thing, it's interesting actually, mine is kind of the start of some of my personal self-care journey as well, and making more effort to take better care of myself.
Yes.
And it was one of those things where so I'm almost 40. And so this happened in, what year was it? I guess it was in 2015, I think.
Okay.
So I was like 36. And I think up to that point, it never really occurred to me that, I wasn't going to live forever. Like I've always been, knock on wood, but it never really occurred to me. And then, you get this diagnosis, and it wasn't a super scary diagnosis, but nonetheless, like, it kind of gave me this, like, kind of hold my breath a little bit. It just makes you take a little bit of a different take on all of your existence and your whole life and your whole,
It really does. It really does. And it's actually, when we talk about kind of waking up, whether it's into the full spiritual awakening, or even just into self-care, or learning how to set boundaries in your life, or being in more gratitude, right? Any of those things tend to come from a tragic experience,
right,
sort of death, car accident, health issue, are kind of the three main ones that I see mostly with my clients. And it's like, it's the things that cause us to wake up, because we clearly have been living asleep in some sort of way.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So did you, so at that point, is that when you began Awaken Your Soul?
So at that point, I actually started doing, I had been a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist since 2006. So that was kind of how I thought I was going to help people. I've also been a dancer and gymnast my whole life. So I was living in Los Angeles, auditioning, doing massage therapy. But I was like, that's still not it. So after the melanoma, I started introducing health and nutrition coaching. So taking care of the body better.
Right.
And then I was like, that's still not it. But through that is when my spiritual mentors kind of came in. And so for the last, I would say 6 years now, I've been working with clients fully with this, mind, body, soul, healing past traumas, energy work, working with crystals, journaling, just really connecting to that inner self, higher self, in order to live from within and out versus looking outward and trying to fit it inside.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So can you walk me through what is your process that you go through? How would you start with somebody if they come to you and say, hey, Elise, I'm struggling with this area of my life, whatever that is, whether it's from a trauma or, they're just needing your guidance. How do you decide which implements to use, and how do you go through your process, if you can kind of walk through that?
Yeah, so this is kind of a funny question to answer. I love the question, but at the same time, it is so interesting to answer because that is really where the intuitive piece comes in.
Okay.
I sit with someone, we usually take a few deep breaths, maybe do a little bit of a short meditation to start. And that's really where I basically say, okay, I'm ready to channel. Bring me what you got. And that's our way to kind of connect me and the client. And from that space, we may do, some angel cards. We may do crystal healing. We may bring in sound healing or journaling. It truly is very dependent on the person. I also like to bring in some movement. When energy is
Cool.
stuck inside of our bodies,
Yeah.
we need to move it.
Yeah.
So either I'm energy, doing the energy healing, moving it, possibly like this is a selenite wand, which, you can use to like move the energy out. Or we do movement, and through that process of heart opening or laying forward in some sort of a yoga pose, there is an emotional release that is available through that. So it's quite funny, the answer to that question, but that truly is where the intuitive piece comes in. Sometimes people's loved ones pop in to say hello,
Right.
and there's messages that are there for them in that sense. So crystals are very powerful, but truly just a piece of the healing process.
Right. Wow, that's so cool. So are you, when you're in this process, and just to go back to what you said in the beginning, do you feel your grandmother?
Yeah, I totally feel my grandmother. She wasn't around a lot before my first son. When we were pregnant with our first son, who is now almost 3, like in 2 weeks. I can't believe it. Crazy.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
My
But
oldest is almost 11. Trust me, it's flies.
oh my gosh, I know, it's
crazy.
crazy. It's
I mean,
so
he's
crazy.
already 11. He just turned 11. That's what I meant to say.
Oh my gosh. She has been a spirit guide, if you will, for me, for sure, in waking this up. And I've come to learn that, some of you, this will make sense. Some of you, it won't. That's okay. But we have like ancestral lineages, and we have energy patterns that are passed down through our lineages. And so, when I look at my mother, my grandmother, the whole lineage, there has been a very gifted in that lineage. And so even though she didn't use it in her time here, she has been gifting that forward to me, which is really beautiful. And when we were not sure what to name our first son, her name was Olive.
Okay.
And so I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, Oliver, his name is Oliver.
Oh, I love it.
Like she was kind of like gifting her name forward to him. So, and he sees her too. He talks about her. So that's really beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah.
I wanted just to mention for anybody that's watching, and if you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you hit #replay. But anyone that's watching live and wants to ask questions, feel free to put it in the comments and we will answer them as we go.
Please. I love
I just wanted to mention that. So let's get into some of the tools. Tell me,
Yes.
you have some props and you have some goodies.
I do.
Let's see what you have and walk me through it. I want to see what you got.
So I know originally when you reached out, this is about crystals. So let's talk about crystals for a moment. There are all kinds of crystals. Many people know a few of the kind of famous crystals. So rose quartz.
Rose quartz. That's what we're just talking about. I have rose quartz.
Rose quartz. I feel like this is like the like the virgin crystal. Like this is the first crystal everybody gets when they're like, what do I get? It's like, go get a rose quartz. Rose quartz has a property that is just so beautiful. It's literally like the vibration of love. So although it's beautiful for heart healing, it really can go anywhere on your body. It can go, people ask like, how do I use a crystal? You can simply set it on your desk or beside your bed. But if you do have a place in your body that just feels a little off, you can literally just place it there. You can lay down. You can hold it in your hand while you meditate.
Oh, I love that.
there's so many things. If you've got something going on in your back, you can literally lay it on your spine and lay down. You can sleep with it under your pillow. Rose quartz is a great one to sleep with under your pillow. So the rose quartz is love, right? It's the property of love. So it is helping us to forgive, bringing compassion, release judgment. The other thing about crystals is that you can set intentions into them. So let's say you are, a lot of people are looking for love. They're looking for their partner. And so rose quartz is a really beautiful crystal to kind of infuse that intention with, and have that with you as like coming into the loving, so that you can be receptive to see your opportunities out there. So it really just depends. But rose quartz is one that most people know. And another one that most people know is amethyst.
I love amethyst. That's one of my favorites.
Amethyst, all of the stones come in different variations. So this is a version of more of a tumbled stone. So it's not as raw. Whereas this stone right here, you can see it's literally just like, it's a chunk out of the earth.
Do you call that a geode?
You can. A geode, I don't really have. I do have one. It's over there. But yeah, geodes are really actually a type of kind of mixed crystal, typically. Okay. But this is really just like, it's a raw chunk. And so, here is another example. Here's another example of an amethyst that is smooth. And then here is an example of, this is, I do some crystal wrapping too for jewelry, but that's another example of an amethyst. So they come in all shapes. I mean, this is another amethyst, right? They come in all shapes and all sizes. And the beauty of that is that each one carries its own characteristic. So even though amethyst is a great stone for connecting to your spirit, this is really good for meditation. It's really good for calming. It's really good. You can use amethyst if you are, for those of you who know about the chakra system, our energy systems in the body, we have our third eye, we have our crown chakra, which are both very connected to kind of our connection to the divine. So you literally, again, can lay with it on your third eye. You can sit it above your crown. But also, amethyst is another really good, just like overarching crystal. But it's a beautiful connector. So I feel very connected to Mother Earth. I feel very connected to spirit. I feel very connected when I personally am with amethyst. But what I was going to say is each one has a different property. So when you go into a crystal store, because this is one of the questions that I get all the time, like, how do I know which crystal to pick? So what I would do, let's see here. I have I think I've got, So here's 3 different amethyst, tumbled stones right here. Okay. So let's just say these are all sitting in, usually they're sitting in little plastic or glass containers. They're there. So if I feel ooh, amethyst looks really cool, I'll walk over and I'll actually pick up a few of them. And I kind of move them around in my hands. And that one, right now, today, this one right here, that's the one that feels like mine. My finger fits in the groove. It just energetically is vibrating at whatever vibration I need right now.
I love that.
That's the one.
I know. I can picture, we have in our Natural History Museum, they've got, all of the crystals laid out. Yes. And I always look at them and I'm like, I don't know what you do with them. So now I know what to do with them.
Now you totally know.
That's cool.
So that's the one. So if I was in a store, I'd be like, okay, that's the one that's coming home with me. Here's the key. You don't need to know why. So many people want to know why. Why do I need this? Why is this the one? You don't need to know why. Just know that it's matching you right now. So grab it, bring it home, and just like if you go see a doctor, the doctor knows what they're doing. You don't have to know all the details behind the scenes. Or when you go see an acupuncturist or go to spin class, you don't know how to teach the spin class, but you take it. So same thing. Well, you do know how to teach it. That's true. But most people do not. Right. But you still take the class. So it's the same thing. It's you don't need to know how it's working for you. You just need to know that it is. And that's enough. That's enough to know. So that's a really great way. The other thing, some people walk in and they're like, there's so many crystals. Where do I even begin?
Right. That's
Just
usually me.
start to scan the colors.
Mm.
So look at the colors, like where, oh, the blues are really drawing me in today. I
Right.
need to go over here. Okay, so what's going on in the blue? Okay, well, we have something like a soda light here, which is really beautiful. Soda light is really great for the throat chakra. Then you have like a light blue situation. This is called an angel light. Or you might have something, this one's wrapped, but something like this, which is an aquamarine.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all blue, but just go to the blue and then, like which one calls to you right now.
Right.
And
Call to the bright one.
this one.
Mm-hmm.
Or this, wait, this
one. The dark one, yeah.
Yeah. So this would be, so then you would go to what I just said. You would go pick up a few, see how they fit, and you're like, oh, that's the one. And sometimes 2 or 3 will jump into your basket with you. So you really truly start to see that they have different properties, and some will speak to you one day and not the other day. You know what? I mean, I've got like crystals everywhere, but
how many do you have in your house?
There's so many. I mean, this is just like one, box full. And by the way, if you do have a lot, storing them in a wood box is really beautiful, because
that's a good idea.
If you put them in like plastic bags or you don't really want to store them in plastic, because it actually draws the property of the plastic. Mm-hmm. So you can get these boxes pretty much anywhere. I mean, I think I got some of mine at like Ross or Marshall's. But I've got a few different wood boxes around. But it's really great so that you can go in and say, okay, like, what do I need today? What is going to sit on my desk with me? I also have a lot because I use them with my clients. I'll gift them to my clients. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? That's a good start.
No, I love that. So, I mean, in terms of you've gone to the store, you've experienced the colors, you've picked some up, you take them home. You don't have to know how or why you need them. But then what's the next? Like, what do you do with them other than put them in a wooden box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this next part is where it really becomes a personal journey with you and your crystal. So this is your invitation to make it yours. So let's see. I'll grab this guy. So this guy is a green aventurine. And aventurine is a really good heart healing stone. It's really good, just like general healing. But it is, green is the color of our heart chakra. So let's say that I bring this one home. What I'll want to do is, everybody feels a little funny the first time they do this because they're like, I've never done this before. There's no right or wrong. Okay. The idea here is that as long as you have the intention, it will work. So the idea is that other people have probably picked up these crystals in the store, right? And so there's a lot of energy that's probably moving through them. Could be good, could be bad. Again, kind of irrelevant. If you brought it home, it's clearly meant for you. So what I usually do, I usually hold it in my hand and I just ask for whatever's not serving the crystal to just leave. So you can do this with a prayer. You can just say, hey, I don't know what you got going on in there, but anything that's bad, go ahead and send it out the door. I mean, again, it does not have to be perfect at all. The other thing you can do, for those of you who work with sage or use sage, you can take your sage, you can light it up and just sage around it. This is a really beautiful way that you can cleanse the crystal. You can also, for most crystals, not everything, and I'll talk about that in a second, you can also run it under some cold water just to kind of like rinse it and just like, again, with the intention, like cleanse and clear it. However, there are a few crystals like the selenite, which if you look really close, you can see it's kind of threaded.
Right.
And then also like this is a black tourmaline. It's also it's also threaded.
Yeah.
So if you put that in water, like chunks of it will like dissolve or fall off. Yeah. So just, I mean, if it's a tumbled stone, you can absolutely put it under the water. But it has to be cold. Okay. That's just the cold rinses it off. So once you release here, let's get the green aventuring back. Once you take and you clear it, then you want to set your intention.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't know why the crystal came out, you just want to say, thank you for being here. Please infuse this with whatever divine love and light is needed and necessary for me. Thank you so much. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
Just
whatever comes to you.
It really is just, it's, you can even just hold it to your heart and just feel the energy, feel the emotion, ask God, universe, spirit to move through it, to help you, to support you, to heal you, to bring messages to you, whatever you feel like it came to you for.
Mm-hmm.
And then that can be it, or you can go set it out in the moon or in the sun. So many of you have probably heard somewhere along the line, like when there's a full moon or new moon, put your crystals out. It'll charge your crystals or clear your crystals. So I like doing the moon energy when the crystals feel congested.
Okay.
So just like when we have too much going on and we're not taking care of ourselves, we need to like rest.
Right.
Think of the same thing with the crystal. If the crystal has been doing so much work with us and pulling out all of this energy or giving us a lot of energy, we need to let the crystal rest for a moment.
Right.
So you can rest it outside in the moon. The moon's going to just like purify it again.
That's cool.
So the moon purifies, and you don't actually have to put it outside. You can put it in a windowsill inside. And some people are like, well, the moon isn't here. Like, it's been cloudy for weeks. It doesn't matter. It's it can be cloudy and the ocean still makes waves, right? The moon energy is there. So you want to set it there and let that moon energy come in. And then if you feel like you want to kind of supercharge or power up your crystal, the sun.
Okay.
The sun is really good for that.
Yeah.
And again, you just kind of want to be mindful of the crystals. So like with the amethyst or anything that you can like see through. So like the amethyst, you can kind of see through it. The citrine you can see through, and rose quartz is a lighter crystal. The sun will actually bleach them out. Mm-hmm. So you can sit it in a windowsill or sit it in the shade.
Right.
It's still going to get the sun's vibes. So you want to clear it. You want to set your intention, charge it up, and then you can do a bunch of different things with it. You can, like I said, you can wear it. You can wear it as a pendant for a necklace. You can put it on your office, table. You can carry it with you. You can meditate with it. You can sleep with it. You can. I did bring this. Okay, so you guys saw this big chunk of black tourmaline that I have here, but again, crystals come in all shapes and sizes. So here's a little chunk of it. And when I travel, I will sometimes even put this in my bra and put it up underneath. I'll do one on each side, and it just kind of keeps me grounded from all the people and all of the energy going on.
Oh, that's cool. Is that what black tourmaline is for?
Black tourmaline is a grounding stone. So any dark black or brown stone is going to be the best for the grounding.
Okay.
So black tourmaline is really good. Smoky quartz is really good. Hematite is really good. Black obsidian and shugite. Those would be kind of the ones that I would suggest. You guys can watch the replay back if you want to hear what those were again. But you can Google them, and it'll show you. They all have slightly different properties, but they're really good for grounding when you feel chaotic. And just because we're kind of on this, people ask about anxiety all the time. Yep. So lepidolite. It's kind of this like purpley LEPI. DOLITE, I think. Lepidolite. And this, now I forget what it's called, but there's something that is naturally occurring inside of this stone. Okay. That is actually inside of anti-anxiety medications. Oh. So, but it naturally occurs in the stone. So I actually have a bracelet just of little beads that is made out of this that I really like. When I was kind of dealing with some postpartum with my second son, this really, really, really helped. And I'd never worked with this stone before, but I've come to love it. And it's just a really good like soother when you feel that the anxious energy. It's like, yeah.
That's good. So
Yeah.
one of my tenets of self-care, and really of everything that I say over and over again, is you have to have practices that are simple, sustainable, and fun. Because if they're not, you're not going to do them. And my intention is to help women create a space that's, you know, intentional and a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, because I don't like this concept, which I've done for years and years, and I'm finally, you know, reprogramming, but where it's like a destination healthy lifestyle. That doesn't, in my opinion, I feel like you need it to be simple, sustainable, and fun. So when it comes to crystals, what are some practices on a self-care, like a regular basis, not when you're, you know, needing something in particular in the moment, but what's kind of that sustainable practice that one can implement using the crystals?
I would say rose quartz, clear quartz, or amethyst are probably your first go-tos. And you just want to take the stone, close it in your hand, and breathe for literally 3 breaths. 3 breaths. You can do that every single day. Grab the crystal, 3 breaths. If you've got 3 minutes, I would recommend the 3 minutes, but at least that like stop, pause, breathe.
Right.
With the crystal in your hand. That would be one that's very, very easy. Another one that is very easy is to wear it. Wear it as a bracelet, wear it as a necklace. You're not thinking about it. There's no practice to do, but you're wearing it as a way to support you through your day. So the question then would be, what do I need to wear? Right? So I would just ask yourself right now, like after you guys watch this or while we're watching this, like, what do you need in your life right now? Do you need calming? Do you need energy? Do you need sleep? Do you need anti-anxiety? And then literally you can Google crystal stone for better sleep, crystal stone for back pain, crystal stone for whatever. And then, you know, I highly recommend Energy Muse as a place to buy your crystals. If you don't, online? It's an online. So I always first and foremost recommend your like local metaphysical store. Absolutely. Because you want to touch it, feel it. But if for some reason
you can't find
one, you can't get to one, some of them have some interesting vibes. I don't like to buy my crystals from them. So you kind of have to just check. But Energy Muse, they're dear friends of mine. They're in Los Angeles, and they've written a book with, you know, they've just done amazing things, and they've worked with Hay House on a few things. Cool. So that's who I would recommend.
Link to that. We can link to that too.
Yeah, totally. So if you need to do online, and they already have like chakra balancing bracelets. I mean, they've got the bracelets. They're all made up. You just literally go on, look at what you want, and you can get it.
Oh, cool.
So, and I know that like where their crystals come from is very high integrity, which is important.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what are other practices from a self-care perspective? And it doesn't have to be with crystals, but what are some of the other practices that you teach your clients as you're working with them and, you know, working through the trauma and implement, you know, and moving to a place of healing and positive energy?
Yeah. So
I love the breath work, by the way. You made that comment the other day, and I thought that was really fantastic about just taking even the 3 breaths.
Yeah, it's so powerful. We forget.
Yeah.
But when we actually just like, and here's a quick tip on the breathing. If you want to release the stress, you want to go in your nose, out your mouth, right?
Right.
Just let it out.
Right.
But if you want to actually like feel calm, you might start with one deep, heavy breath, but then you just want to go in and out nice and slow through your nose.
Oh, okay. So I'll both inhale and exhale through the nose.
Inhale and exhale through the nose. Right. So that's a really beautiful practice. I know we already talked about the breathing, but that's so powerful.
No, that's awesome.
Another tip. I mean, it's so cliche, but go outside. It doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if it's snowing. It doesn't matter like what's going. I mean, obviously, if there's a tornado or hurricane or something, like get inside and be safe. But just go outside. And ideally, you touch Mother Nature. So you take your shoes off, you know, you put your hands on a tree, you take a flower and you smell the flower. You want to wake up your senses with Mother Nature. And I think people hesitate from that because they feel like if they go into nature, they have to be out there for an hour. But truly, same thing, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of being very intentional of going outside, just opening, feeling the wind, taking a breath, hearing the birds, hearing the traffic even. I mean, just
Right.
like it's the senses that wake up, and it brings us back home to our soul.
Right.
And it brings us present to what's happening. So that definitely is a practice that I'm on my clients with. Have you been outside today? Have you been outside today?
Well, I have two comments that come to mind on that. One is, I don't know if you saw my morning motivation minute yesterday, but I said exactly that. It was, I had like 3 tips for getting unstuck. And if you're feeling stuck, and one of the tips was going outside, because like exactly it's what you said, you go outside, you get fresh air, you move your body, get some blood flowing differently than when you're sitting. I mean, there's so many benefits to it, everything that you just said.
So
and
powerful.
Then, the other day I had exactly that situation. I'd been really like jamming on getting some stuff done. And, I'm like figuring out my schedule right now, and I've got the kids doing different things. And I had been working because I only had a very limited amount of time. So I was kind of like, putting it to the grindstone, getting it done. And I was sitting there working away, and I was like, I have got to like get up and move my body. And I went outside, and it was sunny and warm, which this time of year, it's like, I'm looking out my window right now and it's completely June gloom. So the fact that it was like sunny and warm, it felt so good. And I just went outside and I kind of like closed my eyes and twirled around a little bit and felt the sun, and it just re-energized me. So then when I came back, I was ready to like, okay, let's go, game time. So
yeah, it totally changes everything around.
Right.
And I mean, a perfect example is I always laugh and kind of make fun of the situation, but you can see the energy moving through my chest. So when I get excited, when I'm bringing energy through, it's very, I'm very sensitive. I'm in a lot of ways, right? I'm empathic. I'm all of the things. So this is just one of them, but this is a perfect example that if I would have just kept sitting at my desk and doing my thing, the energy wouldn't be moving like it is in this invigorating conversation and in all the energy that I'm bringing forward. And honestly, even working with the crystals, this is what happens, right? The energy begins to move. And when the energy moves, we're able to shift our mindset. We're able to shift our perspective. We're able to shift our emotion. We're able to shift and heal things that we don't even know are happening, which is beautiful. Some of it's conscious, some of it's not. So yeah, I mean, same thing. Nature is going to help move the energy. One other quick thing that I would say, that is a little bit with moving, but literally takes like 5 seconds is we can do this right now. So take your arms up over your head, deep breath in, and then just,
I love it.
And you're like, oh, that was fun. Right. And you can do that once, twice, 3 times. And whatever was going on, you literally just shook it up, you rattled it up, and you can go on your day.
Oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that with my kids. I love that.
It's a great one for the kids.
They're in a mood.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
No, it's funny. I'm a highly energetic person. It's funny that you say about the energy moving in your chest, because I'm like that too, but I never thought about it in that way. Like my skin gets flushed really easily. Yeah. Especially when I'm like excited about something and I'm like, what's happening there? But there you go. But I was thinking about the energy, and I get a lot of times, people will comment to me, oh, how do you have so much energy? And I really believe that you have so much energy when you create so much energy. I mean, you have to make the conscious decision with so many things in our lives. You have to make the conscious decision to be energetic. And if you make the conscious decision to like sit on your ass and do nothing, well, then that's your choice. But if you want to change that, then you got to, like you said, you got to get up, you got to do the thing, you got to put yourself out there a little bit. And it might be initially uncomfortable, if that's not what you're used to. Totally. And some people are just not as energetic, and that's totally fine. But sometimes you have to like move your energy within your personal space, but put yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, because if you want to have more energy, then you have to create it. It doesn't just magically come to you when you sit on your ass and you think, oh, I need energy. Well, then get up and create the energy. So, totally. Absolutely. Or, do it, whatever.
So true. It's so true.
No, that's awesome. All right. Well, anything else that you want to share about, I don't know, crystals, energy healing, chakras? I love all this stuff. I feel like I could go on and on about this. But any other good like self-care practices that you can share? Or
I think the biggest thing is the awareness that working with our energy is really important. Like
Yeah.
everything truly is energy. We put anything under a microscope. Everything is vibration. Everything is light or sound. It's vibration and it's moving through our bodies. And if we're only focused on getting things done, the business, the type A energy, and we forget about the essence of our soul, we become disconnected from our truth and we start saying yes to things that we don't want to say yes to. We overwork ourselves. We give too much of ourselves. And then we feel depleted and broken and separated and lost, and we don't know why.
Right.
And so this work, whether it is, the journaling, the prayer, the meditation, like you've got to spend time in a space of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I have 2 toddlers. Like I've got an 18-month and a 3-year-old.
Right.
I understand busy, crazy. My husband runs a business. I run a business. Like life is kind of out of control sometimes, but we have to figure it out.
Right.
It's 5 minutes early. What is the alternative? The
Right.
alternative is crashing, really. The alternative is ending up in the hospital, getting in a car accident. I never, ever want any of that to happen for people. And too many times they wait until that happens to then say, oh, I need to focus on my personal growth. I need to focus on my spirituality. I need to do my prayers now. It's like,
trauma.
Yeah, like don't wait for the trauma. Like this is your wake up call.
Right?
Like now is the time to just say yes to a little piece. It's that little step. It's 3 breaths every day. And those 3 breaths turn into 3 minutes. And that 3 minutes turns into 13 minutes. And that 13 minutes turns into a daily practice of 20 minutes of meditation.
Right.
Right? But you have to start the practice somewhere. Right? That three deep breaths every single morning when you wake up, before you go get your child out of the crib, before you go make breakfast, before you answer to everybody else, take those 3 breaths for yourself. And you will begin to realize how powerful recharging yourself is.
I love that.
And I really think that you're not in your highest vibrating self when you're not connected to your spirit and your soul. And so that's why I love the work that I do, because I get to see these women wake up to their essence and their creativity and their spirit. And it's so beautiful and so wonderful.
No, I agree. And I appreciate that, especially, I talk about this all the time. The women that are here that I'm talking to, they're in-demand women, right? We are all in demand. We have
fast.
Yeah, we have lots of demands on our times, but that's not an excuse. No. Don't make it an excuse to not take care of yourself. So if that means getting up a little bit earlier, if that means, saying no to something or asking for help. And just as a little plug, I actually have an article coming out on Monday on the blog, and it's all about this. It's all about proactive time management tips, beyond just how to make a better schedule in your calendar, because it's more than that. And it's really about, I say this, I feel like a broken record, but it's about putting on the oxygen mask and about, if we don't take care of ourselves, first of all, we don't show up for anybody else as well as we want to. And number 2, nobody's going to take care of us the way that we can take care of ourselves. Like, I'm sorry, but once you're a grown up, you got to take care of yourself. And we got to have a village and a community. That's what I'm here for. That's what, we're doing. Right. But at the end of the day, you have to, you have to take care of you.
Yeah.
And if you can't stand up and say, I'm here to take care of me, you're going to crash and burn. And I don't want that for anybody. So I want to help provide the tools, which is why I love this conversation and the work that you do, because I think that there's so many powerful tools that we can implement easily. So easily. How easy is it? 3 breaths. Yeah. You don't need to spend any money.
No
money. And it hardly is any time. 3 minutes.
You totally don't. And I love what you said. And it just kind of reiterates this idea of when we take responsibility for our self-care, part of that is seeking out mentors, guidance, coaches, people like you, people like me, who can become our team. So I have an acupuncturist. Even though I'm a healer, I have my own healer.
Right.
I have business coaches. I have mindset people. I've got mastermind groups. I know all of that may be so overwhelming to someone who's not got that team yet, but start with one person. They're in this group. They're following you. Amazing. Now there's this introduction to the work that I do. Amazing. Like you start to get your tribe of mentors and kind of like your council, your women council.
Yes.
That you go to
goddess tribe.
Our goddess tribe, our
Goddess
women
tribe.
council. Because like there's like the sisters, right? That we're like with,
Right.
but then you've got to have the council that you go to and that you say, okay, I'm off. Can you help me? What's the tool? What's the task? What are we doing? You know, so that's something that I talk a lot about. Like you got to have your team so that when you do start to feel the overwhelm, when you do start to feel crowded and you're like, I don't know where to go, even though you know the simple tools of 3 breaths, you might need to pick up the phone and call one of your council team and say, hey, let's get a session. Let's connect. Let's do something because I gotta get it back together. Right. It's when we don't ask for help when that crash and burn happens.
No, absolutely. And the other piece is, you know, having grace with ourselves because we're all imperfect humans, right? I mean, there is no perfect human. A perfect human would be a robot, right? So, or maybe not even, but point being is that we can have all of the best intentions and we can have all of the practices in place and all of the tools, and yet we can't expect that we're going to be 100% on 100% of the time. So I think there's, you know, also the point of, you know, have grace with your health, and in those moments that you know are going to happen, you know, you're going to have moments where you're going to falter or get stuck or frustrated or whatever. Go to your people, go to your goddess tribe council, go to them and say, hey, at least I need some help. What do I do? I'm feeling stuck about this thing. So whatever it is, I think that's so important to not be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
So
it's okay. It's actually so beautiful and so strong. Yes, it feels very vulnerable and scary sometimes, but it actually gets you on your feet faster. It actually has you show up faster. It actually has you show up more graceful and strong when you're not trying to pull the weight of the world by yourself.
Right? Awesome. Well, we've gone totally over our time.
I love it.
I just love talking to you. I want to keep going, but I also want to honor your time and our watchers' time. So tell everybody, how can they find you? Where can they connect with you? Give your plug.
Yeah, for sure. So Instagram is _awaken your soul. I have a fun, festive, spirited Facebook group that's free. You can ask to join that. It's Awaken Your Soul Sisters and Misters. I do card readings and like questions, and it's really fun stuff in there. And then also, you know, people like to have a place. Like I remember whenever I kind of really throughout my whole life, right? It's been this dance of like, I'm ready for my gifts, I'm not ready. And I've always found it so important to have the women and the people to talk to. Like, what questions can I ask? Even just this conversation didn't exist when I was like going through this. And a lot of women actually have been intuitive their whole lives or very connected, but have not really known how to access it or how to grow their intuition or how to grow their gifts. And so I have this beautiful monthly membership that is so fun. It's a Soul Squad membership. There's mantras and meditations and journal prompts. There's live healings that happen every month in that group as well. And you actually get a free 30 days. So if you just want to try it out free for the first month,
that's awesome.
You can definitely do that. And I can either give you the link or I can share the link now. Either way.
Yeah, either one's fine. And we can just share it.
So it's EliseFalzone.biz, BIZ/soul-squad-membership.
Okay, perfect. I'll add that to the comments. So
totally. And obviously, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out, say, hey, what's up? You know, I'm happy to answer questions and connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being like my first guest on my live
so fun
interview. And I have to give that a name. I hadn't really thought about that. So I'll come up with a name for the show, but you're number one, you're guest one.
Woohoo! I love it. I love it. Thank you.
And we need to end a little like an energy moment. What's an energy?
Yeah. So, okay. This is one of my favorite things to do. It's very scary for some people, even though I don't know why it's very scary, but it shifts everything. So we're going to belly laugh out loud as we can. So ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, that was so
And
fun.
so that's a really great thing if you're feeling sad or upset or just something's just off, like just belly laugh.
Belly laugh.
And you can't have that expression and laugh at the same time. Even
I
if it's just for a moment, it shifts.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Elise. It was great to talk to you today. And I hope that you guys will connect with Elise because she is fantastic. She has so much energy and wisdom, and she's just amazing. So I hope that you will belly laugh, breathe, check out the crystals, and let us know what questions you have, what thoughts you have on this, and reach out and connect with Elise because she's got a lot of awesome, awesome energy.
Awesome.
All right. Well, have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mwah. So glad you're here. Thank you. Bye, guys.